Hi friends! Today I'm finally going to get started with my Honda Civic project, and today I'm going to replace the timing belt. Now, for those of you that have seen more videos of mine, I don't know anything about Hondas because I mostly work on Volvos, so I'm just going to figure this out as I go. But I think the first thing I gotta do is remove the valve cover because it covers the timing belt cover, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think that's it. So let's try to remove the valve cover now. Now I'm going to try and carefully remove this. Yeah, that seems to work. And there it is. Check this out. So that's what a D series looks like. Now I think I'm going to remove the spark plugs as well, just to make it a bit easier for myself to turn the engine later. This is optional, but I'm weak, so I gotta do this. There's number one, and I think I gotta replace these as well, but I don't have new spark plugs right now, so that will be for next time, but this does look pretty bad. Now that I got the valve cover off, we can reach this timing belt cover. So let's remove that and then we can get to the underside of the car. And you have so little space here. That's pretty annoying. And one of the bolts is behind the dipstick, so let's remove that too. Look at that oil, that's nasty. Here you go.
Thank you.
Now onto my least favorite thing to do without a car lift. I'm going to remove the wheel and then remove all of the parts that are in here. Now I would like to work on a car lift, but since this is a budget car and I want to make it a little budget build, I think this is very suitable. There's the wheel. I do like the fact that this has wheel nuts instead of bolts, because it's easier to put the wheel in place. Now I know there's supposed to be a little cover right here, but mine's missing, so that makes it a bit easier for myself, because now I can just reach this pulley without removing anything. Yay! Well, not yay, because I still have to find a new one, but... Now I want to remove the drive belt, so I think I gotta remove or loosen the bolts of the steering pump, I think, a little bit. And then I think I can get the tension of the drive belt and hopefully I can get this loose. Yes. Beautiful. Now I got bad news because I kind of forgot to order a new drive belt and I only ordered a timing belt and a water pump, but this looks like shit, so I do gotta replace that later. Now same thing goes for one of the bolts of the alternator. I don't know if you can see it, but I gotta undo that from the underside, so before I go and do that I'm going to put some jack stands under there. Now this is the bolt I was talking about, and I think I gotta loosen it a bit. I just loosened the bolt on the underside, and then there's one more right there, and it totally doesn't focus. But I think I gotta loosen that one a bit, and then I can tilt the alternator. And there's belt number 2. Now I think it's time for me to remove the engine mount, but of course I gotta support the engine first. Wow! Now I'm going to turn the engine until the timing marks are aligned. And there's 3 of them I see. There's a little stripe right here and 2 right there, and these should be horizontal and this one should be on the other side. I'm really hoping you can see this, but this says up and it's on the upside, so that's great. There, wait, let me focus, yeah. There's a little marking right there, and that's lining up with this little point. And then the other 2 are horizontal, and the crankshaft's lined up as well, but that's really hard to show you right now. I'm going to try and insert something in the little clip, but this one's lined up as well, so we can go and remove that pulley, this cover and everything, and then we can remove the timing belt itself. Now, before I go and loosen the crankshaft pulley, I do gotta admit something, because I know they can be really stuck and you do got a special tool for that, but I didn't want to spend any money on it. So I drove to my garage, my local garage, and I asked them if they could use their air tool to loosen it, and then I tightened it a bit. But it can be really stuck and I wasn't sure if my Makita was going to loosen it, so that's what I did. So if you have an air tool, then no worries, but maybe it's handy to go and ask if you can borrow one, if you don't, because I know they can be really stuck and it's a pain in the ass to remove them. And there's a huge pulley. Alright, now I think I can go and remove the timing belt cover, and that's installed with some 10mm bolts. Now there's one little bolt of this lower cover that's behind this dipstick holder. How do you even call that? But I think I gotta remove this, but it is a bit easier to remove when I've removed the engine mount, because then I have a bit more room, I think. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to remove the rest of this engine mount, and then hopefully we can get to that part. Yeah, bye. And there's the other cover. It's nasty. We can now finally see the timing belt, so now I'm going to remove it, and I think I just gotta undo this tensioner and then we can switch the timing belt.
Hey.
Yeah. There's the belt. Wait. That's a long bolt. Yeah. And there's the tensioner. Ew, that's nasty. Ew. new.
There it is.
Now, before I go and remove the water pump, I'm going to check if I received the right one. Unboxing, yay. Oh, there's another box. Yeah, that seems to be right. Alright, now let's remove the water pump then. But first, I'm going to drain my coolant before I forget.
Oh. Shall I pop the cap?
Yes, please. Ew! Got it in my face. It seems like the alternator bracket's in front of the water pump, so I gotta undo that as well. And that's stuck. Can I stand there? Thank you.
Yeah.
Why are you so stuck? Why is everything so stuck on this engine?
Because it's a Honda.
It's a Honda.
It's a Honda.
I like how there's only 5 bolts keeping this in place. Not that much work compared to a Volvo.
Yeah.
Get out, yeah. That's it.
Pump?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
Does it focus?
Yeah.
Nasty. Well, that's a mess, but luckily I got my mom's old towels. Now, let's clean up this surface a bit and then we can install the new water pump. And there's old versus new. Now, let's install the new water pump. Why is everything so tight around here? Go away. Now let's install the tensioner, and I'm sorry but this is impossible to film, but you're using this little spring to tension it. Here you can see it. I'll show you once it's in place, but
You want a little bit of that?
no. Now to tension this belt, you're supposed to just install everything, then turn the engine 3 rounds and then everything should be tensioned. But what I did is I removed this little spring right there. I don't know if you can see it. And then I put this tool over the end of the tensioner, so it's just a socket and an extension. And I did that like so. And then I just pulled the tensioner upwards to tension everything by hand instead of by turning the engine a few rounds. I don't know if you can see it. I did it like so. And yeah, now I got the spring installed, but everything is tensioned properly and you don't have to struggle. And I have done this before and it seems to work perfectly. Well, timing marks still line up, so now I'm gonna go and build everything back in the reversed order. I just removed everything. Alright, now we're just going to put everything together, like I said, and Pascal, who's been filming the entire day is going to help me, because I don't think it will be very interesting to show you how I'm going to reinstall every single part, because I've just shown you all of the bolts and stuff that I've removed. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so after getting the new timing belt, water pump and tensioner installed, it was finally time to start putting everything back together. Which honestly always feels like the easy part. Until you realize how many little bits and pieces you just took off. I started with the timing belt cover, while Pascal jumped in to install the spark plugs and clean up the cylinder head surface for the valve cover gasket. And yes, before anyone asks, we did clean those filthy timing covers. I just completely forgot to film it. But trust me, you're not missing a cinematic masterpiece there. Once the lower cover was on, we slid the dipstick holder back in place and then the upper cover. Nice and simple. Next up was the engine mount, which meant I could finally pull the jack out from under the oil pan. Always a nice little milestone, because it means the engine is hanging on its own again. With that sorted, we reinstalled the valve cover. And here's the part I forgot to mention on camera. Don't skip the liquid gasket in those sharp little corners. It's one of those tiny details that will save you a headache later if you want everything sealed properly. After that, it was just a matter of popping the ignition coils back in, and last but definitely not least, the wheel. And suddenly the Civic looked like a car again, instead of a pile of parts spread across the garage. Perfect. Well, timing belt's installed, and like you just heard, it's running perfectly. Now I still gotta install the drive belts, but like I said, I don't have them at the moment, so I'll get to that later. And with that, the start of this project has finally begun. And that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye! 19.
17?
Nee, 19.
17. 18.
19.
17. Dat was het.
Dude.